Our CTE toolkit is really meant to connect the classroom to industry. Today, we're really excited to talk with Zane Vogel. Zane Vogel is the president and CEO of Spiritus Systems, a company he founded in North Carolina focused on tactical military gear for military personnel. He was inspired to do this with his friends and co-founders, Nicole and Adam, because they too have a connection, personal experience to military personnel. Hear their story and hear about all the great opportunities that exist at Spiritus Systems in today's discussion. I'm joined today by Zane Vogel, President and CEO of Spiritus Systems in North Carolina. And as we know, North Carolina is one of our key industrial states for the advanced textiles manufacturing field. Really excited about today's discussion. So Zane, welcome. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited about this.
All right. Well, first, I'd love to hear a little bit about yourself. Tell us about your role as CEO, where did the passion come from, etc.
Sure. As you said, Zane Vogel, the president and CEO of Spiritus Systems. Spiritus Systems makes equipment for military and law enforcement personnel. And I founded the company with my lifelong friends, Adam and Nicole. And I'm incredibly fortunate to have partners like that. Cool thing is that none of us are good at what each other is good at, and none of us wish to do what the other partner is doing. So we're all fighting the same fight from different perspectives. And my biggest passions is I think I'm more of a long-term thinker. I like big transformative projects, and I work really closely with our engineering team as well.
Great. And so you'd say your day-to-day focus is on that strategy area?
Yeah, working a lot on strategy, and strategy is kind of what's fun to me is that it can be, the destination the company's going a long time, but it's also about how can we bring it about from being iterative, like I said, more transformative instead of iterative. And that's opened up a lot of opportunities for us to go into more advanced manufacturing techniques. So we design, cut, and sew pouches, chest rigs, bags, things like that. We just got into the apparel space, which is something I'm really excited about. And we've found that the more traditional way of manufacturing leaves a lot on the table. And if you're trying to be more strategic about it, the way that you can, we've done a lot of work to come up with new ways of using old machines, or even kind of pushing the envelope with machine manufacturers, or with other textile suppliers supplying the material that can do things a little bit different than maybe a traditional mil spec or what the commercial off-the-shelf solution may be for a lot of the more commercial customers. And that opens us up to make a better product. And that's really, at the end of the day, we're super passionate. We're super passionate about who we get to serve and being maniacally into our customers. And the best way to do that is build the best products possible. The only way you can do that is using the best equipment with the best people, the best designs. And often it's utilizing a lot of more automation, and automation in sewing, the cut and sew end. We're all the way down at the end of the textile chain. And cut and sew doesn't get a lot of innovation. And we've had to kind of develop our own recipe, our own version of what automation means. And it's opened us up to be able to build products that otherwise couldn't exist, or that are significantly more efficient to manufacture, way more accurate. And then we can provide something that's beyond what people are used to, and in a price point that's absolutely reasonable. And that's the thing that we're really passionate about too, is because while we do provide direct to military and law enforcement units, a lot of our sales are off the website, and we know that cops and soldiers are buying with their own money. And so it's not just about how we can squeeze the most out. It's really value focused, and because of that, it's really built us into being a bit of a hero company for these cops and soldiers that have been, maybe they were early adopters, and as they've gone on in their career, they get to be part of the more acquisition process, and they become advocates for it. So all these principles really play into each other back and forth really well. And that's what I get really excited about. Plus, I just love machines. I love the sound of it, to come up with something new. And, it's really amazing to come up with an idea and then work insanely hard for years and years. Honestly, sometimes in a vacuum or without a lot of, there's not a clear roadmap to go down that people in our space can follow sometimes. But that's the point. That's why I love it so much. That's why I've fallen in love with this industry, because it's the challenge is there, the challenge is real, and it's ready. Anyone that's willing to take on that challenge is going to love this industry.
Yeah. No, that's amazing. And it's something I love about the Spiritus story. And I'd love to hear a little bit more about that. Not only are you an executive, a senior leader of this company, but you founded the company, and it looks like it was founded out of, a connection to what you're trying to produce. So I'd love to hear a little bit more about that.
Absolutely. So I said my two partners and we founded it. So Adam started a Facebook page in 2013, that was back in the day. That was it. So
No
started that
TikTok.
Facebook. Exactly. So started the Facebook page as like kind of a gear forum review blog thing that he was trying to stand up. Like at the end of 2013, and then in beginning of 14, Adam and I both deployed to Afghanistan. So I deployed as an infantryman with the 82nd Airborne, and Adam was prior military. He was an infantryman sniper with 10th Mountain Division, and he did a couple deployments earlier in the Global War on Terror. And then after he got out of the Army, he went into the civilian contracting side, and he was still deploying. So this was his fourth trip to Afghanistan. And as I said, these were age-old friends. We actually grew up together. We're, I don't know, same third or fourth grade class or whatever. And we were thick as thieves growing up. And that dynamic always existed between us of working really well together. Back in the middle school, high school, we were in bands. We played music together. He would write the song, and then I would record it, print the album, make the merch, book the shows, do all that. So it was this like the creative side, and then the technical delivery, the production side of it. And because of that, we've talked a long time, as many people do, late nights in the garage or in the basement, talking a lot of dreams about we should do this or we could do this thing. And when we were deployed, Adam said, I'm looking at your kit that you're wearing here in 2014 and the stuff I was issued in 2005, 6 time. Like it's the same. We're still missing the point. And Adam was that guy that was driving his sergeant major crazy. He was up on a mountain. He was cutting up his issued kit and hand stitching it or shoe gluing it together to make the pouches differently and take out the heavy stuff. He was always kind of a rule breaker and did what the right answer he knew to be the right answer, no matter what that meant. And he was like, man, like no one caught of all the advances and everything that's changed. There's been a lot of improves from the industry over the Global War on Terror up to that point, but like they're still really missing the point. What's more than that, they're missing the point of there was only 2 kinds of companies largely out there. It's these like, that was the time of like veterans starting to get out and make these like kind of joke brand companies and start a coffee company or t-shirt printing company or stuff like that. It was really lighthearted, but or it's the entire other end. It's these faceless juggernaut defense contractor things that no one sees of, and we're like, well, we're in the middle of that. I'm neither of those. Where's the fit for us? Where's the person that's really advocating for it? We both being enlisted, we were the people carrying the machine gun, facing the enemy. It didn't seem like a lot of these companies were developing product for that. It was developed for a program officer, contract officer, or you get some committee to approve it. But what about the person actually having to do the job and be able to communicate directly to that? And with social media exploding, we saw the power behind that. We said there's a hole in the market. So Adam kind of had that idea coming into that deployment, and then about a month into the deployment, he was able to come up to the same base that I was at. So, we sat down on a tent and on a cot behind my tent, and he said, we should really turn this into a company. I see this direction we need to go. I never want to see a contractor dealing with any of that boring business stuff. And you love that. You're a complete nerd for that. So like, let's team up and do this thing. So in between mission, when I had power, when I had internet, I built the website. We got our first few products. We were trying to establish the brand initially. So we printed some t-shirts, made some stickers and things like that. And we had them all printed on, US printing on US made shirts. And Nicole is his wife, and she was back home in the States, and she said, "We got about 24 boxes of t-shirts just showed up. What the heck?" And we go, "Yeah, sorry, we got these orders. Can you help us ship out?" So that's how she got wrangled into the deal. Which has been amazing because on the day-to-day operations, finance, all that stuff, she's just an absolute powerhouse. Adam and I have to take our shoes off to count above 10. She's really the numbers and operations person. And with all three of us working together, that's really where we've grown with it. But yeah, we started it in Afghanistan while actively fighting. It was a very kinetic deployment, so it was really fighting the Taliban and then coming back, cleaning the machine gun, getting some food, and then start trying to work on the company. Right. And we got back, and as fate would allow, Adam and Nicole ended up moving right outside of the base down here in Fort Bragg, and that kept us in North Carolina. And as we started to lean into, wow, I think that we should buy a sewing, Adam bought a home sewing machine off of Craigslist and just started iterating and designing pouches, things that didn't exist that he knew needed to exist. Yeah. And we slowly rolled from there. And we said, North Carolina is going to be the spot for that. It's right. It's the heart of textiles. Actually, the area that we're in, the Sandhills region of North Carolina, is the second most densely populated non-metropolitan area for sewing machine operators. So we're like, if it's anywhere, this is the place. So we have the best chance to be able to really start it here. But we're going to take on the challenge of being builders because, how else do you start? You need 10 things made. There's not a lot of plants that are going to build 10 things for you. But really, we've figured out very quickly that the way that we're going to build things are going to be a little different, and it's going to be off of today's principles, and it's very clear. It's not off of outdated technology, outdated thoughts. We can jump right in and buy the best brand new full feature, sewing machines. We can lean into technology right from the get-go and really accelerate. And the focus was, again, to be able to build the best equipment for these tactical professionals and have it available for everyone. Yeah. And lean into that customer, that direct customer market that was growing around that time. So before, a lot of these other defense contractors, they would build for a contract, and if they had a contract overrun, that's what they'd put up on the website. Or you put your order in on the website, you wait 14, 16, 18, sometimes longer weeks to get the order, and they're just queuing it up in their production, and then you kind of get it. That didn't work for me. I was getting ready to deploy. We were doing a train up. I don't know if my stuff's going to get here or not. So you hope to find some place off post, but you're limited with that. I was like, this is crazy. It's, this is getting into 2015, 2016. It's like, we should be able to have a website that if we have it and it's in stock, it's in stock. And if we can't, it's showing out of stock and you can't buy it, and we'll restock it as fast as we can. And then, like I said, being able to use social media to communicate right to cops and soldiers. They have a phone, they call the social media. Why not be able to speak directly to them? And that's really where we differentiate ourselves early, and we were able to show, we were the first place to really show that you could have more than just a tiny business in this sector utilizing a lot of consumer direct. And that was our entrance into it. We weren't going after the Hail Mary contract or anything. And that's really what I talk to a lot of people. I'm a member of the Advanced Textile Association Military Division. I talk to a lot of our members about that it's, when you build the structure and that you're able to support a large contract, it's wonderful, but that's not how you get started, and that's not how you make a change into a new sector. Maybe if you're trying to diversify and go into defense or whatever, the best bet is to be able to, like what we did, we were talking right to the cops and soldiers. They were loving that. And then eventually over the years, they started seeing it more, and then they became advocates for it. So it grew up as this organic following of these brand ambassadors really loving our products and being the best advocates for it. And as the company grew and the size of our capacity and what we can support grew, we're able to now support these long programs of record, these large contracts, and be able to go get them the right equipment the first time so that they don't have to spend their own money on to be able to supplement with something that's really not living up to what it should be.
That's amazing. And so first of all, thank you for your service and thank you to Adam. I mean, it's unbelievable to transition from that, line of work into being not only entrepreneurs but being able to design products that many people could wear. That must have been just an incredible transition and venture. So that's just amazing. So it sounds like now, as a robust operation that Spiritus is, you have a team that are making the products. As a toolkit for CTE students that are interested in, what can I do with all these interests and skills? Curious, what what kind of roles exist at Spiritus, and what do you look for your team culture and some of the skills for those new employees coming in?
Absolutely. So we do we do a lot here. So we're incredibly vertically integrated. So obviously you got to think like companies. There's companies out there. So obviously you have the admin, you have that. So there's people that never dreamed of the textile side, but they're doing accounting, bookkeeping, HR, and all those things. So we have all that runs the company. A lot of production, and anywhere from like production management to down to all the production workers. It's the largest section of our company since we build, and we've got 100 and some machines on the floor. We've got a ton of people down there slugging it out every day. But and you think of that when you think of if people that aren't necessarily maybe familiar with manufacturing, you think of that. There's either the line worker or there's the department foreman or whatever. It's like, yeah, we've got all that, and that exists, which is a lot better environment, honestly, than most people kind of make it out to be. It's not the old days of the sweatshops and stuff like that. I mean, it's climate controlled, it's nice and comfortable, it's bright, it's clean, it's wonderful, it's modern workplace. Yeah. Great benefits, great life, like everything is good. It's a good, we're very competitive, not just on manufacturing side, but is just a place to get great people. And any manufacturer that's winning also believes in that. But we also have all of our design and engineering. So we have people that are, we build our own design products. We're not white labeling or OEMing for other people. And that's been a really cool strength because we can really make the best product, and we make it for our own manufacturing force. And that's why we're better at building our things than anybody else is, because we're fully tooled up for it. So we've got a whole design team. We have a huge new products development, which is the translation between R&D and production. So the R&D, the designers can build one thing, and then they're having fun. They're going to these counterterrorism training schools, and they're just beating up the equipment, trying to see what these use cases are. They really live customer focused, and then they bring back and they design the absolute best product they can. And then we have this team, the new products development team, that translates that all into manufacturability. So that's building the tech packs, is building the instructions, doing all the computer routings. We have a ERP that runs all of our production floor through. So as a industry 4.0 interconnected plant, we know where every single part of every product is throughout its entire life cycle on the floor. So getting all that part in. So we have people that are like amazing at computers that are diving into all those routes and everything, and that are building Power BI reports to understand our efficiencies, or where we can really get some gains. The engineers, anywhere from the mechanic all the way up to the people that are CAD drafting fixtures and sending it to our internal manufacturing team that's using 3D printers and routers, who are additive and reductive manufacturing and laser cutting stuff, all that. Obviously we've got the sales team, so these are people that they don't know how to sew, but they're out there either doing the training events with people and helping them, get their, hey, try this patch out on the next run, all the way from that to just all the account managers and everything. And then we also have our internal marketing team. So we have several videographers that work for us, like they're employees in-house. We have a technical illustrator. This guy went to Full Sail University. He should be working for Pixar, but he's building, patches and like stuff we have back there, and helping us with the technical drawings if we have to send something to get patented, or the instructions. He can help with all that. So it's really like in the broad world of business, there's so many things that someone can find a passion for, and having it thing like you know, I always say our jobs are found at the merging of our skills, interests, and abilities and the needs of the company. Where those align really well, you're going to find success with that. And then the challenge is obviously to get more skills so that when you're ready for the next opportunity, you can continue to grow and grow. And doing that in an industry that you love is also a really fun thing, because we're able to, we're all of us are, there's a lot of veterans in the company, but there's a lot of people, almost everybody in the company has someone that is served or serving, or was was law enforcement, or was a, something. And they see their family members' faces when they're thinking about what they need to build, how they can help. Who is this going to at the end of the day? So being
Yeah.
part of that industry, ours is the melding of two industries. We have tactical and textile. And that's Adam stayed on the tactical side. I jumped in on the textile side, but pulling those together is where we've found it. So there's lots of different twists and turns that could lead anyone here. But it's been amazing to build this incredible team. We
Yeah.
really
Oh, it
we
sounds
really run
exciting.
a high performance team, and that's you're talking about principles of success. To me, I am all about transformative and high performance. When someone's really deeply committed to the importance of the vision, the mission that the company's working on, uh, every day makes a difference in our industry and our customers' lives. They live for that. Being high performance means really high standards. So people work really hard. There's a lot of work ahead for everybody in the company, and we can't settle for anything less than best deliverable for every single task. And pushing things forward, like I was talking about, finding these old machines and figuring out new things they can do, or going to an automation place and saying, can you put three different machines together in a way that they've never done and figure it out? And that's exciting. Um, but success, I'm all about scale. It was cool when we were building one or two things, but I think this year we'll build and sell our 2 millionth product or something like that. And I just can't wait to keep adding zeros to that, because that's scale, that's real size, And it was cool, like I said, when we were in my partner's garage sewing things up, or in their attic sewing it up. That was cool, having these amazing people that are passionate about what they do, and that want to work hard and want to grow those skill sets to be able to be more meaningful to the company. Brings that trust, and we can trust people to jump into their well trained, well supported by leadership. That's how great things happen.
That's amazing. And it does sound to me like, and I do think that, a lot of industry partners try to balance these two. What are the technical skills that are folks bringing to the table? But what is the sort of passion for the mission, or those softer skills that are about like motivation, attention to detail, etc. Just curious, and I mean, I think there was some implicit discussion based on what you said, but if you had to weigh those two sides, if someone were, a new employee were showing up at Spiritus on the production team, let's say, where would you see that balance in your preference, or in your experience, those candidates that bring a lot of technical, but not as much on the passion for the mission, or the attention to detail, the proactive, or the I want to learn, I'm proactive, I have a passion for the mission. Where do you see those two balancing out as far as who is successful in the long run?
The only thing that matters at start is that someone's is bought in and ready to go, ready to learn, and it's all those soft skills. And which is a lot. You have to have this. It's a lot more than this. You have to. It's the basics of showing up on time, where not like coming in the parking lot at 8:02. It's like, no, you're like sitting at the machine at 7:59. That, not, but it's more than that. It's more than just showing up on time and making sure that you're dressed to go out of the bedroom and ready to go.
Yeah.
It's these people that are it's people that are passionate, and they have the right mindset. People that have a lot of care.
Yeah.
You can't teach care. You can't teach these things. You've got to have that baseline of like, I'm a professional and I'm going to seek professional. Professional isn't what your job title is and what you wear and what color your hair is or anything like that. Being professional is being maniacal about what your it's knowing, it's seeing where you're at now and then saying, but the day before I retire, I should be able to stand on stage at an industry event where everyone in the audience is people that do my job at different parts in there, and they stand up, and I could stand up on stage and talk about the state of our industry right now, and everyone's like, wow, this person like just crushing it. That vision of that person is what we should be working towards our entire career. If we find people that are doing that, they're going to be motivated to be able to bridge their own skills. We can provide some training, but I don't know where everyone's at, and I don't know how you're going to learn it. So you got to be able to do that.
Yeah.
The skill of gaining more skills is very important. But we can train people to sew. Most of our sewers never sewed before they came here, and they love it. They've become passionate of it. We have very low turnover, and they want to be here forever, and they want to keep. They're just like, I love sewing. Keep me at the machine forever. I just crush it. And I got my daily goals I want to hit, and I feel a lot of pride in that. Or people that take on the more challenges into more leadership roles out of that. We've had both of it, but I've had we've we've definitely made mistakes on people that had maybe the technical was good, but we didn't know on the other side. And it's like, I'd rather have someone at a zero base that's wanting to be a fast learner. And you got to think, Adam, Nicole, and I never sewn a day in our lives. We didn't know anything about this industry. We've never made anything. This is our first business. It's like we were green, but we learned it all. We're a really fast study, and we need people to take on that same challenge. So if that's resonating with the audience, or if they're wondering how to be able to really offset themselves, you just got to show that you're a learner, that you know how to identify skill set gaps, and that they're not gonna have to worry about what kind of an employee. You're not going to be the HR nightmare. You're not going to be someone that's like the drudge on everyone else's time. And then if you're like, these are the things this is so many examples of why I can learn really fast, and I'm very good at what I learned. Let me explain that to you. And then what's your training program?
Yeah.
Then you're right into it.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for sharing. Maybe just two more quick questions. One, you seem like someone that has big goals. Spiritus has big goals. What's something that's on the horizon? What are you excited about here in the future for what you can share?
Sure. Well, as I mentioned earlier, we recently branched into apparel. Apparel has been something on our brains for many years, and sewing pouches and bags is very different than sewing apparel. It's not just make different material. I mean, the whole process is entirely different. It was a big jump for us to jump into, but we started to see that the company was not just being seen as a gear maker, but we are a solutions provider. We provide solutions for the best people in the industry. That's what we go after. We're crazy about our customers. We love them. We want to serve them. And so we've saw that if Spiritus is not just a gear maker, we're a solutions provider. What other solutions do people desperately need? And we saw there's a lot of big space in the apparel and apparel needing to launch. So we worked out for several years. We recruited in an amazing guy, Bill Amos. We recruited him, actually talked him into shutting his own company down and coming and leading this with us. And he has a lot of experience in the outdoor adventure athlete space, and applying that to the tactical side has been really cool. So we're able to really bring in our own version of it, and using these experts that are not from the tactical world, be able to kind of bring some life into it and bring these modern manufacturing, modern techniques, and modern these automation processes that we've developed and apply them into apparel. That's really exciting. For all the people that have to wear a bulletproof vest, there's a whole lot more that wear pants. And so for us to be able to affect more change at scale, we're excited for what that can bring. And we're hoping that this can eventually lead into us going outside of the tactical world with this, and continue to echo further and further and bigger into scale, beyond just people that are in that line of work.
Yeah. That's amazing. And yes, I know Bill. Tell him I
Yeah.
said hi. That's amazing. That's a great score. So that's sort of like a perfect fit. And it is very difficult not to talk in textiles puns when you're having conversations about textiles. Yes, perfect
No,
fit.
he's great. He's great.
Last question maybe is, what advice do you have for a young person that's, thinking about entering this field, not sure, or they're studying? How do what advice do you have for students that are thinking about how to develop a career pathway?
Well, I I'm very biased because I've completely fallen in love with the textile industry. It is filled with some of the most passionate people I've ever met. I'm constantly inspired by passion. The passion is infectious.
Yeah.
And the people I work with from other companies in space care so much about the end user, which is what I appreciate. The end user of their products. Whether it's a mill, they're weaving, they're converting, they're dyeing, they're finishing, whatever it is. They just love the idea that they're going to do something good and be able to help people that are doing such important jobs, specifically on the tactical side that we tend to work in. So I can't say enough for it. I encourage anyone to be part of the textile industry in general, though, as production team worker, design, engineering, on the marketing, sales, I mean, anything. There's so much that goes in behind what we build. And the more passionate, talented people we have in the sector, the stronger we'll be and the funner it is to work with. So I challenge them. I also say that if you're looking for an industry that you're trying to do something pretty amazing in, there's opportunity because this isn't, I mean, it's a huge industry. It's not small by any means. And these companies that are wonderful, that are growing into space, they're huge. It's hundreds or thousands of people. It's these huge machines, and it's you know tens and hundreds of millions of dollars invested. So it's not like a small thing. But the industry compared to, do the stats, something on
Yeah,
the textiles versus automotive or
sure.
machining or anything like that. Go to a trade show, you can see it. It's very, very different. So from that perspective, it's a very small, intimate industry, relatively speaking, within the US anyways. And I love that because there's opportunity in those types of environments. So if you really are trying to be a high performance A player to a team and you want to do some great things, there's nothing but opportunity for disruption.
Yep.
And this opportunity, anyone that is working on innovation and disruption in this industry is winning really, really hard. And I love that about it. And it's been a lot of fun. So I challenge everyone to go ahead and take the leap, take the dive, and then find out that then it's just living in it until you can find your fit and your goal, again, where your skills, interests, and abilities line up with that needs of the company and what that kind of effect you can have.
Yep.
And let's just sit back and watch it grow.
Yeah. No, I love that. I say it all the time because it is true. Some, emergent workforce or, students in the school might see, the textiles industry is lacking some innovation or, not as digital forward. And, my challenge to that is the same as yours, which is that's right. This industry desperately needs it, needs companies like Spiritus Systems doing what you're doing. And, and for someone that wants to seize an opportunity, I can't agree more that, it's really ripe for that. So thank you for what you're doing at Spiritus Systems. Thank you so much for taking the time to be a part of this CTE toolkit. We're really looking forward to, young people getting something out of it and really seeing the cool companies and the cool industry leaders that are, forging new pathways. So thank you so much.
It's my pleasure. Like I said, I love what I do, and I hope everyone listening can find a career to fall in love with as well. So thank you so much.
All right. Thank you.